Oh shit, we is live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast. We have a quintet tonight. Granted around like usual. But it's all good. My name is Jake, his name is Drew, his name is Will, his name is Brandon, his name is Trippy. Say what's up to the people.
I'm
Fuck
busy.
you.
Fuck off.
Hey
Nah, it's
y'all,
fine.
what's up?
A
That's
quick word from our unofficial sponsors that me and Jake are trying to get to
motherfucking
sponsor the
liquid
show.
death, baby. What you got? The regular water?
I got the white can.
There you go. It's fucking big ass Corona, but it's all good. You drink that, squeeze to death.
But I'm
Or
also,
I'm gonna be. I
but
almost just
I'm,
dropped 70 on you.
but I'm
10 out
also
of
got
10.
Buffalo Trace.
I should probably
I
not
know.
yell random shit while I'm live, but it's fine.
I missed it. Anyway, so we have some things to get into. Was it week 2 of the preseason is passed? There are some issues along the offensive line with certain plays, but it's preseason. It's whatever. Ravens got the dub against Falcons. But before we get into all that, because of seeing reactionaries low key on the internet, because I don't really internet anything, the Ravens had a joint practice with the Packers today. And apparently, the Packers done whipped up on the Ravens and the offensive line. And then the Eagles traded in the division for the Commanders for a short midget wide receiver. So, Drew, why does EDC hate the Ravens? Why is he the worst GM in the league? I gotta know.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Oh,
I have absolutely no idea what point you were trying to make there. Can we say this coherently so that I understand?
I think his point was saying that we still need another wide receiver.
oh no,
Yeah, I mean, cool. I would
I'm
love
being
it.
totally facetious. I'm being totally facetious when I'm saying that. With everything
Yeah,
I
so,
just
I
said,
mean,
being like
Yeah,
being sarcastic.
no,
Then
but in all honesty, like we should go get another wide receiver. I think our fans freaking out are kind of
Hello.
retarded, but we keep doing this every week. Our fans overreact to everything, so it is what it is at this point. Like unless we go out and get CD Lamb, nobody's gonna be happy with it.
yeah, someone will find a way to shit on. It's like, but we need an offensive lineman. Need a
I would
guard.
love if we get CD Lamb.
And I don't get the whole we need offensive line shit either. Like your offensive line doesn't start good. You know what I mean? It takes time to gel. We're 2 weeks into the preseason. Like people need to relax on
I
that one
agree.
too.
Well, okay, people freaking out about number one, Ben Cleveland's playing center. We're not going to see him playing center. Falele's playing right guard. I think they're really just putting him out there as like a feature, trying to maybe get some attention on him to make a late training camp trade. I fully expect Ben Cleveland to be the right guard, and we have who's even playing left tackle right now. Josh Jones is playing left tackle, so like people talk about the offensive line. Shut the fuck up. It's just like it's the same as the people today who are shitting their fucking diapers about a fucking practice, man. It's a joint practice. It doesn't fucking matter at
If
all.
Lamar fell off his bike and got hurt, by the way, I would have pressed charges.
Yeah, that would have been a horrible. I mean, that would have been terrible. But who gives a shit what happens at fucking practice? Like people were freaking out about a Green Bay Packers beat reporter saying that Lamar was running for his life. What?
Yeah.
What?
Like what
And
else
basically,
is he supposed to say in that
right. Well,
situation too?
and he also said how Lamar threw 2 red zone touchdowns, and a third there was a defensive pass interference in the end zone on Tez Walker. So, like, what the fuck are we talking about? How bad could it possibly be?
Well,
I don't know.
wasn't it Mink going after him too, which is
Yeah.
just makes it even funnier.
Really funny. Well, you know what's really ironic about that is idiot Bob Breakfast Carrot sent that fucking tweet from the Green Bay guy, and I said, "You're getting worried about a Green Bay beat reporter's. You know, he's hyping up the team he covers. That's what beat reporters do. That's how they keep their fucking access. That's how they keep their jobs. So I said it would be like Ryan Mink saying the Ravens were playing great, and then guess who comes out of the fucking clouds and dunks on that guy for saying, that Green Bay, and he basically said that exact thing. Of course he's gonna hype up the Packers. He's a fucking Packers beat reporter. What do you expect
Right,
him
like
to
that's
say?
what didn't make sense to me is that everybody was all fucking mad at him for saying, Packers pass rush or whatever the fuck he was talking about was in the backfield the whole time. It's like that's his fucking job is to hype those people up.
Right. Exactly. Like the people who are going to interact with his tweet for the most part are going to be Packers fans. So of course he's going to say something like that. They're going to be like, "Holy shit, our pass rush is all over Lamar."
Like, could you
You know that
imagine the meltdown that Ravens fans would have if Jeff Z was like, Ravens suck today. They got their asses kicked by the Packers.
exactly. Right. That was my point to Bob, and he's like, "Oh, but
But you got to forget Bob. He's retarded.
he,
So
he's at a fucking drive-in movie theater right now. Like no one has gone to a drive-in movie since I don't know, like before we landed on the moon. And meanwhile, Bob's out and watching a movie in his fucking car like an idiot right now.
yeah, he's
Bob
at a
we're
drive-through
talking
movie
about.
theater. Breakfast carrot.
That'll do.
The kid that I'm beating right now, who just threw another pick six, is talking shit about Zay Flowers into my ear. Fuller, come catch me.
I don't really trust Drew to be able to multitask.
Yeah,
I don't
okay,
either, honestly.
I'm winning. Hold on, I'm winning 82-28 right now. 81-28 with 3:25 left in the fourth.
You had 35 points like 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, this guy has thrown fucking 5 touchdown passes to my defense. He's not good. And then he's
You think
talking
you could
about Zay Flowers' girlfriend went to my high school. Nobody cares.
You think-
Retard.
That's
you
not
think
his
you can put up
girlfriend.
100 on him? Can you put 100 up on him real quick?
I have 9 interceptions right now. I have 325 to put up another 18 points. I think I'm going to do it.
Who's this guy?
Who the
Who's this guy?
hell is this dude?
Go Pack Go. I don't know who that is.
Oh, that's my man. I went to high school with Shell. Yeah, I went to high school with his brother. Yeah, Packers fan.
I assume you found this on Facebook.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's a Facebook comment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Packers fans seem like Facebook people, so that makes sense. Checks out.
And then we got our
Think
dude
Packers
Brendan
fans
Ace
have, found Twitter yet?
Overreaction Thursday.
Yeah, we was in a space earlier, bro, and I'm trying to understand. Like, we got what? I forgot how many days. What? Like, I want to say
This guy is screaming in my ear right now that I
14,
support women beaters.
13, 14 days to what? Kickoff, and fans is arguing about John Harbaugh getting fired. Like the season over. So I don't get that shit. I don't know, bro. That shit crazy.
I mean, Harbaugh might be on the hot seat, but this is not preseason shit is not going to be what determines his job. That just seems like fucking stupid.
But this what
Typical
I said,
of
though,
our
right?
fans.
But look, this what I said though, right? I said because basically it's a lot of Ravens fans that want John Harbaugh fired. They don't even want him to be the head coach no more. So what I asked them was, so what?
Well,
Do
I
y'all want to
tweeted
win
the
a
link to
Super
the
Bowl?
podcast. You can come talk in the chat if you want.
Do y'all want to win a Super Bowl, or y'all want to just tank or just start losing? Whereas though we get rid of Harbaugh, because if we win a Super Bowl 9 times out of 10, he's going to be our head coach for the next couple of years.
He's not.
Yes.
He's never getting fired. I mean, people need to just accept that.
If we go like 3-14 and everybody's healthy, he might get fired. But that's not going to happen. So it's
No,
a moot point. But
no Lamar. I mean, unless like the whole team gets hurt, and then even then they're not going to fire him because the team got hurt.
yeah,
Like-
I mean, it's just it's not. I don't get the whole clamoring for Harbaugh to be fired at this point. Like it's not going to happen.
No, it's not
Like you
going to
said,
happen.
unless there's some like fucking crazy shit that happens. He's here
Unless
for a while.
unless like a John Gruden hack happens and John Harbaugh's got some like crazy ass emails with the N-word and shit in them, then it's not going to happen. He's not getting fired.
Honestly, I could see it.
I could not see that. I couldn't see that with John. I think
not that specific thing, but I could see him having some crazy emails.
I don't know. He doesn't strike me as an email guy.
That's true.
And then you go back to what Jake said about the Jahan Dotson trade. You got Raven fans mad, like on how we, like my man Brandon said in the chat, on how we ball set. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
yo, why?
It's
But don't get
crazy.
me wrong though. I was kind of upset though. I was like, damn, why EDC ain't make this move? But me knowing EDC, I know for sure it probably was something. He might have made a call, or maybe they wanted something crazy offer. You get what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure.
Okay. So
You know
here,
what I
let
mean?
me
But
let me break it down a little bit here. Um, they signed Russell Gage. Russell Gage and Jahan Dotson have very similar production over the last two seasons they each played, and Jahan Dotson cost draft capital and twice as much money. So when they have, you know, they don't know what they have in Gage. You don't really know what you're going to get from Dotson at this point, but to give up more money and to give away draft capital on somebody that was probably going to get cut. That wasn't going to happen. They would probably have made a move to try and get him if he got cut, but they're not going to
right,
go giving away draft picks for him.
right,
I
Yeah, I
mean, it's
mean,
pretty
I just
straightforward, you know.
yeah,
I
like
would have liked to have had him. I'm not saying he's a bad player at all, but I'm saying if you want to look at production, we just signed a guy for half the money and nothing beyond that, and really like the only guaranteed money. I think he's like only actually guaranteed 165 grand. So, um, the Russell Gage signing, they're not going to go make a trade like this. If they made a trade for a wide receiver, it would be for a much better wide receiver.
right.
It would be an
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
upgrade,
know.
not just adding to the back end of the depth, you know?
I, I don't know why fans talking about they want EDC gone. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, yo. Some of these fans dumb as shit.
I
Like,
feel like
They
yo,
are.
our fans just
EDC,
get bored and call for his
like
job.
EDC been with the Ravens since they first existed. Some people don't even know that shit. EDC done turned down so many GM jobs and all that shit.
He's
Like,
another guy that is
he
not
just
getting fired. It's just not going to
right. That's
happen.
what I'm saying. Like, they
So,
just need to chill out. Like, he ain't going nowhere.
no,
Like,
no,
even if John
definitely not.
Harbaugh goes somewhere, EDC ain't going nowhere. Like, EDC been with the Ravens since what, 96 since he first came. Come on, man.
Mhm.
Like, these fans be tripping, bro. Like, you got fans talking about it's Harbaugh's fault why Mark Andrews played in the championship game. But I guarantee if he ain't played and we still would have lost, it still would have been his fault. Like, to be honest with
Zamboni,
you, like,
hold on. Put
I'm just,
Zamboni's thing up there. Hold up. This,
what he
okay,
say?
hold on. Hold on.
Sorry, we both are doing the same thing at the same time.
All right. I'm going to click it. There you go. All right. Now, listen, Zamboni, you're right. If that had happened earlier in the offseason, right now, making that move is stupid. To make a trade like that to give away 3 draft picks for a guy who's kind of backfilling your wide receiver depth. Like people are like, oh, he's the automatic wide receiver too. No, he's not. I mean, Jahan Dotson has had better success than Rashad Bateman a little bit. I mean, he's put up more touchdowns, but other than that, you really don't know what you're getting with him. So I mean, there's question marks with that move. I think if you make it at this juncture in the offseason, if they had made that move, say in like May, and he spent the whole summer with the team, and then they didn't go out and sign a Russell Gage, then okay, I get the logic behind it. But right now, like I said, if they're making a trade for a guy and giving away 3 draft picks like that, it's going to be for a higher quality, somebody that you expect more out of. Not a guy like Dotson who you really don't know exactly what you're going to get out of it.
But
That's
ain't we gonna have multiple fourth round draft picks from the comp though? So, I mean, two
Yeah,
seventh
like
and a third.
we could have gone
I
and
ain't gonna
got
lie,
Dotson
two
fine.
seventh and a
I would have
third.
been
That's
happy
kind of
with it, but we don't even
wild.
need him.
I'll probably give him like a fifth and a fifth and a seventh.
yeah,
I
maybe. All I'm saying is like the timing of this makes it just based on what's already happened. Making that
Right.
trade's not going to happen for a guy like that. Now, like I said, if they want to make a trade for a guy who's like a day one wide receiver too, that's a whole different story. But Dotson hasn't demonstrated that he is that guy. There's kind of like a dogfight for that position. But Bateman, I guess, is that guy right now. I mean, on the depth chart anyway. But as far as um, you know, performance is concerned, I think it's pretty wide open who's going to be wide receiver too. But a 5th-year option doesn't matter if like okay, a 5th-year option would matter if it's a guy who um, you expect to use that on. But like again, Dotson is backfill. He's not top of the depth chart guy. He's just not right now. So like if it was like I said, if it was he got cut and you sign him, fine. or if you traded for him earlier in the offseason and you could really see what you had with him and you can work him into wide receiver 2, so like he's ready for it. But trading 2 weeks before we kick off, he's not gonna be ready for wide receiver 2. He's just not.
Not to
So,
mention,
so
any kind of trade that happens in division like that tells you a lot about what the team trading him away thinks of him. If you're willing to just let him go to the Eagles, you obviously don't think
right,
highly of him.
Well,
right,
and
right.
like
Because
the talk for the
because
past week has been he's going to get cut. He was on the roster bubble, so like the Commanders made a move because they were going to get rid of him anyway. But knowing EDC and how he values picks, he was never going to give up picks for him ever.
No.
so speaking of this though, so like I mean, there's only one more game, and then it's roster cuts. Like,
Yep.
like who y'all think gonna be like the wide receivers on this team? Like, I'm still high on Kirk Keithwood. I mean, Kirk Keithwood.
Keith Kirkwood,
Kirkwood.
I got you.
Yeah.
Um,
I like Wade, but like the
let's
Ravens
see.
answered my question on the uh the mailbag.
They're going
They
to try
said
and
like
sneak him through to the practice squad.
Yeah.
right,
Probably. Yeah.
And he'll probably get through because again, there's the market's going to get flooded with guys like him, bubble guys, and a lot of teams are going to want to get those bubble guys, those bubble wide receivers who've spent time with the quarterbacks and spent time learning the offense, get them through to
right.
their practice squad so they can move them up as they need them.
I
Um,
think
so I mean,
I
like,
think
and his numbers are a little bit misleading. So like, you look at what he's done. Most of his production came on one play. Now, it was a great double move, but it also came from a fucking quarterback who's not going to make the team. Maybe he'll make it to the practice squad. I don't know, but people who fall in love with preseason stat lines are the most insane people in the world. Again, it's like the same people who get worked up about a fucking joint practice with Green Bay on August 22nd.
yeah, but
It's
I ain't
insane
gonna lie,
behavior.
that
It's crazy.
boy. But I ain't gonna lie, I've been saying since day one, like that boy Wade, like you could just tell, like you could see him doing something,
I'd
like
like to see
yeah,
him come down with some kind of injury so they can stash him on practice squad this year.
Yeah, no, I would love for him to make it to the practice squad, but this is a guy to me who has all the clear signs of like a fucking James Crochet.
fuck no,
I mean, it's true. Uh,
no,
It is. It is. I mean,
I
like,
don't think so. If they give him an opportunity, bro, I think he could definitely shine. It's
oh
just,
God,
it's a
I hate that phrase. I hate it.
what phrase? If they give him an opportunity,
If he gets a chance, if he gets an opportunity,
bro,
he'll
it's
get an
true,
opportunity
bro.
eventually. He's an
Bro, it's
undrafted
true,
free
bro.
agent. He's an
It
undrafted rookie
don't
free
matter
agent.
though. But if you listen, the whole point. Listen, I was in a space earlier, right? And I think if Brandon's still in here, he heard the same thing. Basically, Raven fans, right? And maybe I'm speaking for myself, and I'm speaking for Raven fans. They basically want wide receivers that's dogs, right? And I feel like he's a dog, bro. You feel what I'm saying? That's
Well,
why I'm
that's
saying
the
if
same
he
thing we
get an
say about Tylan
opportunity.
Wallace. It's the same thing that people said. That's the same shit
But
people
if
said
they
about
give him an
Devin Duvernay and
opportunity,
James
bro.
Prochet.
But they just give them an opportunity, bro. That's what I'm saying. They never get an
Okay,
opportunity. It's always be bringing these
Crochet
other
got
wide
all the
receivers.
listen.
uh,
Crochet got all the opportunity, and he's still fucked up.
okay, and here's the thing about a guy like Wade, like Prochet, is, and these guys, they have to know this coming in, is their opportunities are going to be few and far between, and that's every back of the off season preseason roster guy. So like Wade's done a good job of taking advantage of his opportunities. That's him getting on the radar. So like he might get picked up by another team, but I think ideally,
Shit,
like I
Mike,
said, that
ain't
he
no
makes it.
Mike. If he get well, I'm not saying he should make the 52. That's why I agree with Drew. Like if we could somehow like injury stash him, that'd be cool. Because I'm looking at it like this, bro. The way how that kid playing, bro, another team is gonna pick him up and use him, bro. I'm trying to tell
You
Right.
don't
you.
think so?
That's why I want to stash him, is that he's
Right.
good enough to
I don't
keep
see that
around.
happening.
I won 95 to 28, by the way, if anybody
But
cares. So
at the same time, Will, you right because the way how the NFL set up now, everybody getting cut on one day. So
Right. That's what I mean. So like, Yeah.
right.
There's
But
gonna
you-
be a
but you
there's gonna
still,
be a
but you
fucking just a deluge of free agent wide receivers who have done the exact same thing he's done, who've had a strong
bro.
preseason. But like for one thing, the Ravens have basically held out every important player from significant preseason time. So you're not really seeing much. It's great that he made that one play. It's great that what's his name? Emery Jones, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
Emery
great that he made
Jones.
that throw. But again, like these are like flash plays. So you don't get a
Right,
whole,
but just imagine if Wade do make the team, like say like in the middle of the season we call him up, bro. That could be like he can go on a fly route. You feel me? But all them offensive weapons
That's the
he
thing is
got,
you got to get him to the practice squad first, and so
yeah.
like I don't know
man.
if that's gonna I don't know if that's realistic, and
I think
that's
he's.
kind
I
of
think
my
he'll.
fear.
I think he'll make it to the
And I
practice
agree
squad
with
just fine.
Drew. I don't think that's realistic, bro. I think another team is going to pick him up.
Well, then
Like
guess what? We're gonna pick up somebody else's Dayton Wade. These guys are dime a dozen. I'm sorry, like no disrespect to him, but like we've said this, like, and I'm gonna go back to James Prochet. James Prochet is a talented player.
Jordan Lastly, I mean, there's a million
Yeah,
guys that you could
he
use for that
every
same.
single guy who gets a
Um,
preseason snap in the NFL is a talented football player. I'm not taking anything away from that, but he is still, at the end of the day, he's
the
an
difference
undrafted
between
rookie
Jay,
free agent.
the,
It's really, really fucking
exactly,
hard for an undrafted rookie free agent to make
and that's the only
an
thing going
opening
against him.
day
Because you can't
roster.
compare James Prochet to him because James Prochet was drafted, so of course he was going to make the team.
He was a 6th-round pick. It's not that big of a
Right,
difference.
but he still made the team though. So I'm just saying,
But
bro,
Will, is the point
you
that you're
never know,
making
bro.
that he's an undrafted free agent, he's not worth like fawning over? Because
Well,
like I
okay. I'm saying a guy like him has a steep uphill battle to make the Ravens or any team, and I really doubt that another team is going to pick him up and put him on their active roster based on what they've seen in very small doses playing on the Ravens with the third and fourth team. I just don't see
Right,
that
so
happening. I
imagine
think
if he could do that with the
well,
first team.
here's my
You don't
question:
know.
for both of y'all? I mean, do we think that we'll see a rookie actually make the team? Because I'm looking at the current roster and wide receivers and
any rookie, or you mean
and
a rookie
the
wide
rookie
receiver?
in general,
you
rookie
mean undrafted
receiver,
rookie?
I
or
don't
no,
know.
just a rookie receiver in
And
general.
that's what I'm
Oh, a
saying. Like
receiver.
Tez Walker.
Receiver.
So what about Tez
Yeah,
Tez
Walker?
receiver.
Walker,
What has Tez Walker did to make the team?
He was drafted in the third round.
Yeah, see,
He'll
see,
be
see
on the
what I'm
team
saying? Exactly, but he was drafted. See, that's the
in the
difference.
third
He was
round.
drafted.
In the third round, the
Fourth
Ravens.
round.
Was it the fourth round?
yeah, it's fourth
It
round.
was
Yeah,
the
you're
fourth
right.
round.
Whatever. The Ravens have moved on from, like Sean Wade jumps out to me.
Yeah, but they got picks back for him. So I mean, if somebody's offering us picks for what's called
Tez Walker.
Dayton
No,
Wade, then yeah, or
Oh
Tez
yeah.
Walker or any of
Well,
those
yeah.
guys, then
No,
yeah.
again, like
I don't
no
think,
one's
to be
gonna
honest with y'all,
offer
to
shit
be,
for Wade.
but look, to be honest with y'all, I don't think he's ready this year.
Oh,
Why not?
Oh,
we lost Jake.
we lost Jake.
I mean,
His Android
I don't
failed.
know, and I just feel like
We
if he is going to be on the active roster, I just feel like we're not going to use him.
I think he is somebody who I wouldn't be surprised if he was on some phantom IR shit. I mean,
Right, right. A lot of people
but
been
also
said that.
it also wouldn't surprise me if he makes the roster and he gets significant playing time. So I don't know. I mean, like he spent a lot of time with Lamar in the offseason, so his chemistry with the quarterback is probably a little further along than a lot of these other guys. So
Or how about this? Or how about this, Will? Maybe because us fans, we've really been bitching about wide receivers. Maybe it's just that they ain't show us everything, and maybe they might just come out week one and shit just might click. I mean, I
right,
don't know. You feel me? Like Tez Walker balling out. I know what Isaiah Likely gonna do.
right.
Hopefully Bateman. We know what they gonna do. Mark Andrews, because we got. I
Yeah,
mean, to be honest with you, we do got the weapons. Like even
Well,
with the
yeah,
Delta
and I
X
want to
ball,
be really clear about Rashad Bateman. He's
Fuck him.
well, he's a bitch.
I mean,
But I hope he fucking lights it up this year. I
right?
mean,
I hope he proves us wrong.
I hope he does. I don't
He
think
won't,
he will.
but
I don't think he will. But
You know what?
but
I ain't gonna
I'll
hope. I
I'll be the
pray.
happiest person out there if Rashad
I'm
Bateman has
not
a big
hoping.
year.
I'm praying. I'm not hoping. I'm praying that he proves us wrong. Like please, like 1,200 yards, 10 plus touchdowns.
Come
Please,
back and
like
dunk on
That
me.
ain't gonna happen.
Go
prove me
right
No,
go
wrong.
right
fuck
ahead.
But
no.
like,
Fuck
I
no.
know I'm over exaggerating, but at least 800 plus, like almost 1,000. Please, like something like over
here's a
5 touchdowns
750
as a wide
yards and 5
receiver.
touchdowns, and that's great. I would take that in a heartbeat. It's not going to happen,
Like
but
I
I
Yeah,
would
want to
take it in a
erase, like
heartbeat.
I want to
realistically,
erase the Dolphins game out my mind. I want to start seeing some new Bateman highlights. You feel me? Like I want to see the Bateman that Browns game. Like
I want
remember
to. You know
Tyler
what?
Huntley just
I would
kept
love to
throwing it
see
up.
I would love to see a Bateman who is so like he plays so well and he wants to shove it down our throats so bad. He goes out there, has a fucking huge game, and then
Oh,
and
pause.
goes back to that fucking exchange from June or July, whatever the fuck it was, and
Say
just
pause,
fucking
buddy.
just windmill dunks on me and Drew.
He
Go
just
go
doesn't
ahead.
have that in him, though. Is the problem.
No, he doesn't. He is bitch made. He
I
is.
like
So
this comment right
you
here.
want to shove down your throat,
Bate gets half
huh?
of
it's
whatever Zay
accurate.
does. That's a positive. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Zamboni's right. Like, the best thing going for Bateman right now is that he has no expectations.
Fact, Zamboni. That's a fact.
Like,
Bateman?
nobody likes him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bateman
if
has no
Bateman gets
expectations.
half of whatever Zay does, that is a positive.
Well, I'm saying what I'm saying is the expectations. What you're saying, you're speaking from a point of view of someone who's rational and intelligent, and there are expectations on him. Like when you see someone put like, you know, if Ramey were to, I think he posted this the other day. What are your
I,
expectations for Bateman? The fucking replies were insane. Like it was like one guy was
Did
like
he did he did he block him?
the floor is 800 yards and 4 touchdowns, and the ceiling is like 1,800 yards and 11 touch. Like shut the fuck up. That like both of those
1,800.
things are fucking unrealistic.
Fucking tripping.
For anyone to expect that Rashad Bateman would put up 800 yards and anything more, like honestly, if you're expecting him to put up more than 500 yards and more than 2 touchdowns, you don't live on the same planet as I do. Now, could he do that? I guess, but he hasn't shown me anything that indicates he's capable of it. He's never done it before. I guess he put up over
Right.
500 one time, but like, the trend here is he's going to put up somewhere in the like between 30 and 40 catches. He's going to
I
put up
think he
between
put up
3.
500. I think he put up 500 his rookie year.
He did, but here's what I'm saying. If you average out his career and it's gone down, it went from there to like nothing because he got hurt. And then last year he was healthy the whole year for better or worse, and he put up 31 catches, 300 something. So what I'm telling you is this: the
Bro, his
realistic
career stats is like Devontae Adams in 1 year, bro.
not even. So like here realistically, if your expectations for Bateman are that he's going to have anything other than this, somewhere between 30 and 40 catches, between 300 and 400 yards, and between 0 and 3 touchdowns. That's like anything inside of that range. Okay, fine. You want to say those are your expectations? Great. If you exceed that, you are not living in reality because he just hasn't shown you that that's who he is. I like there's no reason to think he's just going to show up and be some fucking, like he's going to double like his yearly average career wise. Now, if he does that, great. I just to expect it is crazy.
Oh yeah, and nobody should expect that from him. I guess that's the problem. Is people have these wild expectations of him that he is going to be this. He's going to regain first round wide receiver form or what was expected out of him.
Right.
Like, he's not. Like, you got to give that up. And now if you're looking at him, he's paid like a wide receiver 3. So if we get wide receiver 3 production out of him, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. So what your expectations should be are based on the contract he got. So like if your expectations are he's going to put up something similar to what Aguilar put up last year, fine, okay, that
Well, that
I
man got
respect that.
93 receptions,
Like a
1,167 yards, and 4 touchdowns,
right.
bro. Like fucking Tariq, it's like 5 wide receivers that get to average that shit in a season, bro. That shit is nasty, bro.
Yeah, that his
Them-
career numbers
That's that's
last year
that's
wouldn't have been
nasty.
top 5 in the NFL.
That's
No.
nasty, bro. That's nasty.
So like, you know,
Yes, I know he was hurt and all that, but come on, man.
not last year he
Come on,
wasn't. He
man.
was. I mean, he missed one game last year.
Didn't he miss like 2? Because didn't he come out really early in one game?
I think
Whatever.
so.
But,
Whatever he
yeah.
played. He played basically what every he played at least
I think he
15 games.
did
I think
play every game except for the no. You know what? He did miss a game. I think he
he
missed
missed a
two
game.
games. Cause remember
Mm.
the starters
But
ain't
that
played the last season. And remember
yeah.
him and Odell missed the Browns game. Remember?
Yeah. He
I
was
think him
held
and
out. He was
Odell
a
missed
healthy
the
scratch.
Browns.
He was a healthy scratch. But
That's when we was live on what's the name? I forgot that little ad. Yo, that shit was funny as shit.
We don't
Yeah.
talk about
But
that.
as far as trying to get moving on with the training camp and positions, Brandon Ace actually has a good question here.
well, here, let's start with this. Last week we were talking about
Yes.
people were shitting their pants about Ojabo. Oh, he's not even dressed for the game. He had fucking ACL surgery in November. He was just waiting for the doctors to clear him for game action. He got cleared, and what do you know? The guy's fucking all over he's all over the field. The guy he had 19 snaps and he was disruptive. He set the edge. He did everything you expect of him and more. So like all these people who are talking about him being a bust, shut the fuck up. You're
I
an
just want to
idiot.
say I gave people a 24-hour grace period to apologize to me about David Ojabo, and nobody took me up on the offer. So fuck all you when he wins Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah. You know what's funny? A lot of the people who
He
shit
had to wait
on
too.
a lot of the people who shit on Ojabo are also Bateman dick riders.
Yeah,
That's a
because
fact.
they're okay. So there are, I don't know, casual, stupid, Madden fantasy football fans, whatever you want to call them, that think that, having a number one wide receiver is like the be all end all to winning football games. And they have no idea how actual football is played. They don't understand that, pass rush is arguably more important than wide receivers in some aspect. And so they see George Pickens putting up 1,000 yards because 1,000 yards is this arbitrary number that we pick for wide receivers that matters. And they're like, oh, well, we could have taken this guy with 1,000 yards who has wide receiver one upside. And instead we took David Ojabo, who's been hurt. And like, that's the rationale behind it, is that they're just fucking stupid is basically what it boils down to. The reality is that Ojabo was the right pick there. I'd make that Ojabo pick 100 times out of 100. And
Same.
this year he'll prove it, I'm sure, if he stays healthy. He is a disruptive force on the defensive line. We need guys like that, especially when you're trying to beat guys like Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, that's
Right.
how you win in the playoffs. This is not about, getting an all-pro wide receiver and, picking a Ravens wide receiver that you can put on your fantasy team and put up big numbers. It's about winning football games. So,
we are going to be, me and you specifically, are going to be insufferable if and when Ojabo has a fucking huge season.
I'll be more insufferable than you, because I said even after he got hurt, we should have considered him at whatever we were picking.
So did I. So did I. So me, you, and Grant. I think so. It was I think it was the first time I ever did this podcast. I was not a part of it yet. I was just a guest, and we were talking. It was the day that Ojabo got hurt, the very day, because we were going on. It was like leading up to the draft. We were talking about, okay, who we like to pick, and I was like, well, my pick's fucked now because I wanted David Ojabo at 13.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he's just, I watched him at Michigan, and he played 1 year at Michigan, and he was just everywhere. And if we get that guy in the NFL, he's going to be a fucking problem.
What's the guy's name? The guy in Detroit. What's that fucking
Aiden Hutchinson.
Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson is like He's like a JJ Watt type of player.
This is going to piss off people who don't know jack shit about football, but Aiden Hutchinson was not a sack guy until he played next to David Ojabo.
He's kind of
Because
so
he was
yeah.
the guy that was getting double teamed every play, and he was
Right.
still some disruption, but he had like, I want to say it was like 10 sacks combined in the 3 years
Until
before
Mike came,
Ojabo.
my man Mike came and made shit different.
Right.
I mean, that also helped him a lot, but it was having somebody to take the pressure off of him so that he couldn't get double and triple teamed.
So what I'm
And
trying
that
to
guy
say
was
is this.
Ojabo.
So he's like a JJ Watt, where JJ Watt wasn't like one thing. You know, he's a defensive end, but he's like pretty athletic, versatile. Like he's getting in passing lanes, shit like that. And on the other side, Ojabo is a pure pass rusher. He's like a fucking Terrell Suggs type of player to me.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so he's just a barbarian who like has
I mean,
a
he wore the
bloodthirst for the
55 in
quarterback.
college, and I got shades of Suggs every time he'd be in the backfield fucking somebody up. So
Right. So when you have that, so Aiden Hutchinson and Hutchinson's awesome. He's been a really good pro, but he definitely benefited from Ojabo. But that's like the thunder and lightning combination. Those two, you know.
And Owe could be that.
And I was about to get
JJ
at
Watt type guy who's
exactly
just kind of disruptive, but maybe not always getting to the passer. Maybe he's sticking his arm in a passing lane. Maybe he's eating up the double team on one side.
He ran a sub 4.40 at his pro day.
Yeah,
I mean,
Owe is going to be the Doomerville of Suggs.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that you get Ojabo healthy, and then you have Owe on the other side. That's a really good, like,
and then think about if you put
there's no
Tavius
redundancy
Robinson.
in that skill set, right? And then Tavius Robinson's another guy who's really flashed.
You got Travis Jones and Matabike. You put those three on the line. You put Owe and Ojabo on the edges. Like that's a problem for a lot of defenses.
Yeah, exactly. Now, what I'm most focused on right now is just I need to like make a list of people who I need to be tagging every time Ojabo does anything, because there are some notorious fucking haters.
One of them is conspicuously absent tonight.
Well, the funny thing is, on that very podcast I was referencing, he was totally on board with the
yeah, but that was
Ojabo
before Grant's love affair with people who beat up handicapped people and are just Grant calls it a killer instinct. I call it being a retard. Grant loves these guys with this retard streak that don't know how to keep their emotions in check, because he sees that as passionate about football. The reality is they're just fucking stupid, and like they're going to cause a problem at some point. But George Pickens fits the Grant mold to a T in terms of guys that he likes, and it's just supreme physical talents and mental midgets.
And Brandon Ace has a good point here that Pickens might end up getting out of Pittsburgh because of the quarterback situation.
It's pretty bold of you to assume that George Pickens is going to have a choice there, because I think that they're going to end up getting him the fuck out of Pittsburgh because they don't want him there anymore.
Probably.
Yep. So,
also,
my understanding is that so Pickens the entire time has been part of the discussions between San Francisco and Pittsburgh about Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that it didn't happen is because they also wanted Minkah Fitzpatrick. That's my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, because George Pickens is not enough to substitute for a first-round pick, and that's really, I think, what they're going for there. Is that they're looking for a first-round pick and players that kind of work up value-wise to a first-round pick. And then George Pickens is not that. Now, you do George Pickens and Minkah Fitzpatrick, that's probably a first-round pick equivalent for those two. So that's why they're looking for that. They want 2 first-round picks back for Ayuk, essentially.
Right, exactly. But Pittsburgh, I think, would be thrilled to get rid of George Pickens.
Yeah, I assume they regret drafting him.
He's been a pain in the fucking ass. He's been a dickhead, which is not surprising.
For every great play that he's had at least 2 plays where he's given up on the play before it started. He had that one where he
terrible drop.
That 10 yards into the end zone, he had a foot down and couldn't get the second foot down.
Yeah.
And then, you'll get people like Grant who will send the fucking he catches 10 yards in route over the middle and runs untouched for 60 yards. And they're like, oh my God, look at this fucking skill. It's like, buddy, if I ran a 4.4, I would have scored there too. That's not skill. That's nobody fucking guarded him. It's blown coverage. So I don't know. For Pickens is he's a great barometer of how fucking stupid somebody is when they're talking about football. Because there are people like Grant who are just in love with this, dog mentality or whatever the fuck you want to call it, where I'm like, you're blinded by this idea that somebody can be an asshole off the field and learn how to channel it on the field and not cause problems. Fine, I can at least live with that. But then there are people who they think George Pickens is like the next coming of God because he's got physical talent, can make one-handed catches.
So here's the thing. People talk about, oh, he's a dog. Okay. I think I can speak with a high degree of expertise on this. I'm a dog guy. Dogs that bite people and that piss all over the house and that chew up your furniture, they end up at the fucking pound. They end up at the
love that dog to death if he fucking takes a chunk out of somebody who breaks in your house's leg. And that's what. So people think that you can channel that wild aggression and inability to behave most of the time and channel that into some ability to do good with it consistently. That's not the case ever, but that's what people think. They look at the raw potential there. They look at, George Pickens is passionate and cares about football. And so they think that can somehow turn into him being a good wide receiver. And it's just never the case. Like you said, he ends up pissing on the floor or fucking, biting all your furniture.
Well, and I mean, he's had over 1,000 yards 2 years in a row. He
also had a game with negative yards last year.
No, I agree. Listen, you don't have to fucking tell me, but he has a high ceiling that he'll never fucking reach because he's a self-saboteur. He's a fucking dickhead.
Maybe a hot take now, but especially with 17 games, 1,000 yards is the most meaningless thing for a wide receiver at this point.
Yeah.
I've never understood the just fixation on these milestone stats that really don't mean anything. It's all about how you get to the 1,000 yards, to me. And so Pickens is puts up big numbers in 4 or 5 games and disappears for 4 or 5 games. I don't want that guy on my team. Give me the guy who gets 60 or 70 yards consistently every game.
Yeah, actually agree with that. He's whenever you're doing like fantasy and all that, with this redraft league, dynasty or whatever, he's someone I avoid like the plague because you don't want those boom or bust types. There might be a week where you're getting 30 or 40 fantasy points if you're lucky, and then there's another week where you're getting a fucking donut.
Yeah, and like if you're on a team with, like, from a football standpoint, not a fantasy standpoint, but like a real football thing, maybe him popping off those 4 or 5 games wins you those 4 or 5 games. And if you have somebody else to shoulder the load in the other games where he disappears, like, sure, maybe you can live with him, but Steelers don't have that guy. And when he's, disappearing in games, he's usually pouting on the sidelines or causing some kind of locker room issues, complaining about the offensive coordinator, whatever the fuck he does. So I don't know how we got on the George Pickens tangent, but fuck him, and David Ojabo was a better pick.
Oh, because we were talking about Ojabo.
That's why, because we were talking about Ojabo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I say this every week, but this is going to be an exciting Ravens team to watch. Even our offensive line, I don't get the freakouts about them at the moment.
So,
like we were
as
talking
far
about
as
earlier, you got Ben Cleveland playing center. You don't have Tyler Linderbaum in. You haven't had Stanley play. Rosengarten looks fine. I guess Voorhees is the left guard. Are we pretty comfortable in saying that?
Yeah.
So
100%.
I do want to point out that because I'm going to take a point out of Cole's book. The only issue that I have with Voorhees right now is with him kicking off the rust is going high and wide with his hand placement. I figure he can probably work that out throughout the regular season, but I'm with you on confident saying he's going to be the left guard.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't played football in, before the first preseason game. What was it, 18 months probably?
I
Since
think
his
so,
last
yeah.
snap. So, he's going to have some, dumb habits is the right word, but, he's got to knock the rust off. So, I think he's got to be the guy at left guard. Love to see what they do at right guard. I don't know. There's a lot of options there still. They go a lot of different ways, but I don't think there should be all this panic about the offensive line that we seem to have among the fan base.
Same. It's not like it's not okay. Like I think people like to make these weird parallels, right? So another guy that people have been unfair with so far is Adisa Isaac.
Mhm.
Like this is a guy who did not have any injury questions coming out of college, and he's had some hamstring issues since being drafted. But like, okay, what's the big fucking deal? But they're like, oh, it's another Owe. What are we talking about? Just because he's from the same fucking school, they're the same person? That makes no fucking sense. Like all the criticism of Owe being drafted too high and not having enough sacks and being raw, that's the opposite with Isaac. He's much more polished. He's taken in the third round. Like he went to Penn State. That's the only similarity between the two.
It's annoying to draft a guy in the third round who has a bunch of injury issues up front. It's not EDC's fault. It's not even really Isaac's fault. Like, shit happens.
This is also another good point.
Yeah, but this is a great point.
Also, more production than his counterpart of Dolphins draft. Yeah.
Chop Robinson.
Yeah, so my issue with it's okay to be frustrated that Isaac's hurt and say, "Damn, this sucks that he's hurt," but then turning that
that's
into
fine. But to make parallel like he's a bust. What are we talking about?
Yeah, that's stupid, and I get it. Like it's annoying. Like it's it's Ravens luck. They draft somebody who's hurt. Like sucks, but shit happens.
Yeah, but drawing parallels between players for
it's helmet scouting.
Ridiculous reason. Yeah, so
I mean, that's why
it makes me fucking crazy.
In the NFL, though, to be honest.
That's why you think who?
Drake May is going to suck in the NFL. It's helmet scouting.
Well, that's
number 10 played for North Carolina. I don't think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's why I don't think JJ McCarthy's going to be a good quarterback because there hasn't been a good Michigan quarterback since Tom Brady.
So since the best quarterback ever. Yeah, damn.
Pre 9/11. You could get on a fucking airplane and smoke a cigarette when he got fucking drafted.
The World Trade Centers existed,
really
and we're in the Sopranos intro when Tom Brady got drafted.
I don't think he played a snap before until after 9/11.
Hey, yo, I never knew Doug Flutie was from Maryland. That's crazy.
Doug Flutie's a midget.
He is.
I mean, he's legitimately a midget.
Yeah, he's from Manchester.
I thought he was from Canada.
No, he played in the CFL.
I get that, but he looks like a Canadian, doesn't he?
No, he's just a midget. That's all.
He looks like Chris Benoit, kind of.
Oh shit!
Does Doug Flutie love his family? That's the first question.
I think he loves them
also
dearly.
another valid
question.
Again,
so I'm not going to do what everyone does. I'm not going to helmet scout and say that Doug Flutie is like Chris Benoit. I'm just saying he looks like him. That's all. I'm not saying he behaves like him. I'm not going to make that.
So what you're saying?
The scouting report.
Call the authorities in his area and say, "Hey, watch out for this guy. Can you do a wellness check on his wife and kids?" No,
definitely not. Nope.
Okay.
You
just like Justin Fields in Ohio State.
He's just hanging around like Chris Benoit.
Yeah, I mean, is CJ Stroud going to fall off the face of the earth this year with the whole fucking suck eye stink on him?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, that just seems to be the way Ohio State quarterbacks go.
I mean, I've said it. I've said it to the get-go, even though it's my fan base is just with that school is by association. Ohio State can produce quarterbacks, at least for the league.
They produce some of the softest individuals to, grace the field in the NFL too.
But Malik Harrison's been all right so far.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Malik Harrison is like one mean tweet away from fucking snapping and going after somebody online. It seems to be the Buckeye way.
But JK's just a little bitch.
Yeah. Is he hurt yet?
What?
Is he hurt yet, JK?
I don't know yet. I haven't looked.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything pop up that he's on season-ending IR yet, but I assume that's imminent.
Also, Will, for the last hour, I'm pretty sure most of our viewers that may not know your bit We want to elaborate on that?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Your background.
I always have this background.
Yeah, what background are you talking about?
Oh, fair enough. Oh, I'm just retarded tonight.
What is it, like flipped or something?
I think so.
Will had a problem with that once. He had
Will
the Zone
background
32.
is sponsored by Nerd.
Will, are you going to put out an apologies, 800-page apology statement about your background?
Yeah, you kind of ruin the bit, but
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
See,
we're gonna-
here's the thing: it's the possible autism.
Possible. Good to know. The Yankees, Ohio State, some things are adding up here. Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Brandon, okay. I've even taught my child this. Never explain your joke ever. As soon as you explain your joke, then it's ruined. So
You only
don't ask
explain
me.
your joke
don't-
if it inflicts damage on the person who the joke's directed at.
Right. If someone who doesn't get it is taking it too seriously, then you can explain it to make them feel stupid. But otherwise, never explain a joke.
Well, thank you for the reminder.
I'm also wearing sunglasses, so I can't actually see what Will's background is. I just inferred it from context clues.
You can't see the headlights. The high beams are on, man.
No.
Well,
Yeah,
first of all,
got-
your
got
fat
some-
head's in the way, and second of all, I'm on a fucking
Yep.
half
No,
iPhone screen.
No, I'm resting.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
again,
a-
I'm also
that's
wearing
a
sunglasses
background
inside
notebook in
because
the
one
background.
of us sticks to bits, one of us doesn't.
With his future ex-wife.
I mean, I can join you, but I'm gonna get a migraine in like 2 seconds. Here we go. All right.
It's a lot easier when whatever fucking frozen guy comes in and harasses you. You won't be able to read the comments, so you won't get triggered.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? Cold Crush. Cold Crush.
Cold
Yeah,
Crush.
Cold Crush comes in and fucking bullies you this week. You'll be like, I can't read it.
I got
Just
to
to take it
inspect.
back to the
I got to-
offensive line.
By the way, I got to inspect Drew's Pit Vipers in person on Sunday,
Oh,
up
really?
close and personal. Yeah.
Yeah, and Will rolls in the fucking second inning of baseball games.
I told you ahead of time I was going to be there at that time.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but then you texted me. Are you still coming? Like you texted me.
I meant to say, are you still coming late? But then I read it
that's
back
like
later. I
a
was like,
fucking
yeah,
chick
whatever.
text. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Still coming.
fuck off. I woke up.
I actually got there earlier than I said I was going to.
Yeah. Is this still the bottom of the first? No, Will. It's bottom second. That crab hot dog, by the way, I don't know what company that is, but I have beef with them. Fucking
the construction.
The potato sticks on top of that is a fucking atrocity. Tasted great, but just fucking poor presentation. Also, yeah, they aggressively tried to make me tip them at that stand there for doing fucking nothing. I picked it up.
I told you about that. I warned you about that.
Yeah, I told her to fuck off. And then she was like, oh. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. That and your little vendor pal who came in front of us who was like fucking, 40%. I was like, no, 20%, dipshit. Like, what do you think this is?
Who was that? The little guy?
The one who was like still selling in the bottom of the eighth, like nothing was going on.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy was missing a few screws there. I did enjoy it. This Talking Baseball segment is sponsored by Visionless Dave. By the way, he's
I was gonna say, he's gonna
made
love
a-
this.
he's made a healthy donation to the warehouse dog. Is that what I tried? Will was the warehouse dog? I don't know. I had crab.
I don't know.
I had crab dip
I'm not
and
sure.
potato sticks on it.
I don't know what it's called. I don't eat that stuff. Honestly, when I go to the games,
Yeah,
Like-
that's what it's called, the warehouse dog.
That's the warehouse dog. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Tasted
Most of the
great,
time,
but it was-
most of the games I go to with Trippy, and we get our hot dogs outside on the street. So I don't eat food inside the stadium all that often.
The vendors
Yeah,
outside the ballpark are usually better.
It's not that it's better. It's just like exponentially cheaper.
Yeah.
That what
At
makes
that
it
point, I
better.
don't care.
And better.
It could
Yeah,
be
way
better. I
better.
don't. Again,
Hot
I don't really
dogs
have
is
anything to
way
compare
better.
it to. I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Just if
Hot
you're
dogs
gonna
be
put fucking
bullshit
potato
and
sticks on a hot dog, for the love of God, put them underneath the fucking hot dog so that every time somebody tries to take a bite, potato sticks don't fucking get stuck in their beard, get all over their fucking pants.
It was
Like-
a fucking debacle. These potato sticks, it was like a goddamn IED going off every time he took a bite. Those motherfuckers were flying in the air.
That
It's
and
crazy.
whoever, Larry Lucchino, rest in peace. Like fucking make your seats for people who are above 5'3", maybe. Be ideal.
All right, so just to
Um,
be clear, so Drew and I sat next to each other. Drew is what, you 6'3"?
Yeah.
I'm 5'10". Big Dog Dad's right in the middle. He's 6'1". And Big Dog Dad can sit in that seat and be okay. Now his feet are gigantic. They're way bigger than your feet. But his knees are like half a millimeter away from hitting the railing. Drew, I have a picture. I'll quote tweet the live stream with this picture, but Drew's knees were just like smashed against the fucking
in the
railing.
fucking the
So
middle railing. I was
his knees look like they are like mangled when he would get up. He had like indentations in his fucking legs from sitting against it. So
as a gentleman
if
I
you're
am, I gave my dad the aisle seat. So
if you're over 6'1", then
Yeah.
my row in section 81, row 1 is not for you.
if you're over 6'1", I would recommend pretending to be handicapped and take one of the handicap seats. That'd probably be the move.
Well,
6'1" tall or
There-
wide in
there-
some cases, but yeah, width wise they were fine. Much more comfortable than Fenway seats in terms of width, but fucking just leg room. I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna
all
work.
right. That's as long as I can go with these fucking things. Yeah. So Jake, you were trying to move us along. So sorry. Let's get back to that.
I was trying to actually ask a question for the four of y'all to pivot back to the offensive line. Right tackle, it seems like Rosengarten might be the dude, but given the first month of the season, week 2, gets to go up against Max Crosby. Week 3, Micah Parsons. You imagine week 1, the Chiefs might throw Chris Jones out there every now and again, but they'll probably move him around quite a bit. So my question ultimately, do you put the rookie out there and kind of give him the trial by fire, or do you stick with McCary until he shits the bed, if he shits the bed?
So you can't play McCary full time because he's got
No.
injury issues, and you need him to be your depth guy. He's also probably your best option to like spell Ronnie during games and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't have any fear of Rosengarten going against Max Crosby because Max Crosby won't be motivated to beat Rosengarten the way that he would other right tackles, given his skin color. So I'm good there. The reality is like Rosengarten's the best right tackle on our roster, so start him. Like fuck all this. Doesn't matter. He's a rookie. Doesn't matter. Just fucking play the kid.
Well, and there's everything
There's a
I've seen
caveat
and
to that.
heard is he's killing it.
Yeah.
And
He's
as
the
far
guy.
as like the only criticism I've seen, and I get this information from Cole because this is Cole's wheelhouse, right? That
Yes.
his functional strength is not where it should be, but that's something that they knew coming in, and he doesn't even have. He got drafted in April, so we're talking about a few months on an NFL strength and conditioning program. So like, I see him honestly. Here's what I see with him this year is his, welcome to the NFL, get acclimated year, and next year the expectation I think is that he's going to be the left tackle.
So
I can see
I'm
that.
going to second that motion. He lacks the functional strength, but the thing is, his technique is just about completely there.
When you say shit like functional strength, for an offensive lineman, you lose me because like, who the fuck, like, what is functional strength for an offensive lineman? He's clearly not that far off because he's a good
functional
offensive
strength is his power relative to his size. So like,
right,
Yes.
but
it's your center.
so
It's basically your center of gravity.
But my point is that when you're talking about like a freak human being not having good enough functional strength, like he's still stronger than everybody who's ever said that about him. You know what I mean? Like his strength isn't an issue, I guess is my point. Could it be better? Sure. but I don't think it's something that like we should be worried about. So when people start saying things like, "Oh, his functional strength isn't at an NFL level," like I don't really buy into that. Nothing against Cole, like that's just that's the nerd offensive line stuff that I'm like, yeah, you can miss me with that.
I think what the message is, because everything he says about him is positive, is just that he's not driving guys back the way that you would expect, or not expect, but that like an elite player at his position would be doing. But like this is something that every single guy that comes out of college gets a lot stronger, especially especially starters. So his strength is starting a little bit lower than where you might want it to be. That doesn't mean that by next summer the guy's not going to be.
That's what I'm saying, is that because his functional strength is not where they want it to be right now, it doesn't mean that he's not going to be a productive offensive lineman.
No, and that's not what Cole's saying, and that's certainly not what I was trying to say.
My beef is with that criticism of players in general existing, not just Cole.
That in general, the functional strength for the whole players.
I hear you. I think it's like, okay, we were talking about that Green Bay beat reporter being like, honestly, I think just being like over the top, like Homer status.
Yeah. So when you point out a guy's functional strength, you're trying to be like, hey, I'm not a homer.
Right. It's just Cole being fair with his assessment of him, saying, all right, this is the area I see that he needs to improve at, but also like you expect that he would improve at that anyway. So like he's saying it just to say it because you already know it's gonna improve. You know that.
It's not as much the Coles of the world either. It's the fact that Cole says it, and then somebody who doesn't know shit about offensive line will read Cole say it, and then they'll go tomorrow and be like, "Oh, Rosengarten was a bust. What a horrible pick by EDC. Look at his functional strength." And they have no fucking clue what they're talking about.
There will be people who do that. There will be people who do that. So like me saying that is just me saying I'm going to defer to Cole. I believe he knows what he's talking about. So if that's an area that he can improve, that's fine. He's going to be the starting right tackle day one. And like I said, I think he's going to be the starting left tackle next year. I think like his year at right tackle, he's like the opposite of Orlando Brown, where they drafted him to be the right tackle this year, but to be the left tackle moving forward.
Well, and people forget too. So he was a right tackle in college for a left-handed quarterback. So he is used to protecting the blind side.
Right.
So exactly. He has that skill set. Like that's something that he's done before.
Before that, he was a left tackle before Penix got there, right?
Yeah.
I think he was. I think he was like a swing guy. Like I think he played right and left tackle at that point. So.
And with that being said, I think he needs to keep his head on a swivel more.
I think their plan for him is for him to be the left tackle because there's two things.
You're kind of playing with house money with Ronnie at this point.
The two things that happen are he shits the bed and he gets cut, or he, hits every incentive and then he prices himself out of getting another. And we're not going to give him another contract. We already saw how that goes. So like somebody else, like a team that's notorious for doing this kind of thing. There's two.
Bengals.
There's three. Okay, there's three. Kansas City is one of them. The Bengals are another one, and the Patriots are the other one. So like he'll probably go to one of those teams, like if he plays really well this year and make $21 million, and halfway through the season, he gets a fucking an ingrown hair from shaving his legs or something, and fucking misses the rest of the season. He becomes rest day Ronnie once again. He collects his $21 million on top of the $104 million he made from us. And, or maybe he didn't make all that because of the restructure. But I think Ronnie's playing career is not going to be all that much. It's not going to go much further down the road than
from what I understand. This could be a paraphrase conversation. This could be an oversimplification. Was that they basically went to Ronnie and said, like, take this pay cut or we're cutting you. And Ronnie's decision was that staying in Baltimore this year gives him a better chance for a contract next year elsewhere.
Right. Exactly. That's what I mean. But like, I think he knows, and everyone else knows from now on, because of his history, he's signing 1-year deals moving forward.
Most likely.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
maybe like
there's a
2-year
lot of
deals,
dumb
but basically no, sign a 2-year deal. It's essentially a 1-year deal. Everything, all the guaranteed money's on the front side of it,
I
all
could
that.
see him
But
going to the Jets too.
that's I could see that. But like it, like you close your eyes, you're seeing one of those teams we just mentioned. Like it's going to be like maybe
You
not
know
Kansas
another
City.
team? Chargers.
Well,
Go.
yeah, I guess.
I
Yeah.
don't see that anymore.
At this point,
Now
you
with-
have to put them in for any guy who's leaving the Ravens. But yeah. The teams who were notorious for it. Now, Kansas City, I think maybe getting phased out of that because I think that they found out the hard way that if you go down that road, like bad things happen. So, they've been kind of building up that offensive line. But the other teams, Cincinnati, New England, and like you said, the Jets. Those are three that are just like too perfect for Ronnie Stanley next year.
Yeah, I can see the Dolphins seem like another team that might go down that way.
How fucking funny would it be if Ronnie Stanley ended up on the Bengals as the starting left tackle and
they moved Orlando Brown to right tackle?
Yeah, got moved to right tackle.
That'd be hilarious, honestly.
He has to tweet, "I'm a right tackle." Then at that point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just get cucked twice by Ronnie
And
Stanley.
in every game he has to arrive to the game with Ronnie, and Ronnie has to walk him in on a fucking leash on all fours because like
He might be into that though. That might
Yeah,
be.
Oh, he is. He's a furry.
with his
Yeah.
tail sticking out.
Yep, he's a furry.
Fucking freak.
Have mercy.
I still can't believe he just walks around with a fucking foxtail butt plug out in public and is like, "Yeah, I'm cool for having this." Like,
This
no.
this podcast is such a culture shock for Brandon after his last one.
Yeah, the politically correct, fucking we don't swear. I did Brandon's show once. He's like, absolutely. He's like, we don't swear. I'm like, fuck, that's half my vocabulary out the window.
There you go.
Nah,
It's like if anybody's ever watched the interview that me and Drew did with Lacey, Drew's entire like speech pattern is changed because he's like
Yeah.
pausing in between every word to make sure
Don't say
nothing
fuck.
comes out.
Don't say retard. Don't say,
Oh.
don't call somebody,
Oh no,
some
he did the same
slur.
thing when I was with the
TV.
other pod.
Yeah. Around the block, I was like, yeah, I have to actually think about what I'm saying out loud. I'm like, shit. Like, how do I, articulate my point here without saying fuck every other word?
Hey, I'm having fun. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, we're a fun crew for the most part. Do we have any other pressing topics to get to?
Did we hear anything about Kyle Hamilton? I know he
I haven't seen anything
left
yet.
practice with trainers, but I don't take any of that unless they
Didn't he
say like
give
an
a-
ambulance transported
Didn't
them
he give
away
a press
from the field.
conference after? Didn't he talk to the media after practice?
I think
I'm
he
not
did.
sure. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he did. So I took
Oh,
that as
I
he's
did
fine.
have one question for all of us. Who do we think is going to be starting at right guard?
I think Ben Cleveland.
See, I would have thought that, but they're having him play center, which makes me think that they want him to, be a depth guy across the line or, trade him potentially.
Because the whole Falele thing has got me fucked up.
I like
Yeah.
the idea of Falele there. I'm not going to lie. I know that's not the conventional choice, and that's not the you can't teach somebody to be 6'8" and 380 pounds, or whatever the fuck he is. Like, that guy is just a fucking wall. And if you could teach him average NFL skills for a guard, I feel like that's a problem. That's a weapon. He also moves pretty well for a guy his size. So you could pull him. Imagine you pull him, then you have Ricard hit somebody, and then you got Henry coming up behind them. That's like nightmare fuel for opposing defenses. I don't know if that could ever work.
Hey, real quick, Yahoo's and NBC are both saying Kyle Hamilton's shaken up, but Ravens don't think it's serious. So, all right.
Yeah. That's why he gave an interview after. I'm sure.
I'm not seeing that, but
I swear to God, I got a notification from the Ravens app that said Kyle Hamilton and somebody else talking to Mike.
all I see is
I've never been more checked out of a preseason than I have this year.
Me too.
Yeah.
Because I just honestly I just want the playoffs to come around. At this point, that Chiefs game left such a bad taste in my mouth that I'm just going to be thinking about that for the entire year.
So Harbaugh said, here are his exact words: "It's not a serious injury." Not they think it's not serious. He said it's not a serious injury.
Yeah,
So
it's not a serious injury.
that's
I
not
looked at the
like
same thing.
one of those Harbaugh quotes where it's like, oh, he'll be back soon. It's not a serious injury is very definitive.
Oh, but Will, how about all the times that John Harbaugh lied about Lamar and other injuries? And
but he was lying about a timetable for return, not it's not a serious injury. That's pretty.
nope,
Like I said, that's pretty
Harbaugh does
straightforward.
lie and not run the ball in the playoffs. Fire.
Yeah. Well, Corbin Burns really needs to be better.
Agreed.
Hey,
It was a pretty terrible showing from him tonight, right?
It was eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, the Red Sox broke him. You come to town and fuck that guy up on his bobble at night. It's gonna take him a couple weeks to recover.
He was bad the start before that too.
Yeah, he's just falling off a cliff. This is Corbin Burns in the October bright lights, or the August September stretch run to get to October. It's just not a good sight. It's a real shame. I also saw you guys sent down Trevor Rogers, your big deadline acquisition, who some retard that you retweet all the time said that totally shoves against AL East, or AL wildcard teams. Or
so
like that.
do you know as well as I do how roster mechanics work? Okay, so the Rogers demotion was they got 2 bullpen arms back. So the whole point is because the last couple nights they've been burning bullpen arms. Actually, they do it all the time because Brandon Hyde is really bad with his bullpen. But
you can't option your third playoff starter. You option Dean Kramer in that situation.
Right. Well, right now there's like a dogfight for who's the number 2 starter on the team. But Rogers, I think, was demoted for 1 start. He'll be back. He'll be back in
Yeah, but you gave up all-time great outfielder Kyle Stowers and what's his name, Colton Norby.
Yeah. Career home run leader for the Norfolk Tides. What the fuck does that tell you?
I mean, look,
if you're the career home run leader for a minor league team, then you've been there a long ass time. There's a reason for that.
How many minor league teams do you lead home runs for, asshole? None.
I'm just saying. At that point, you're a minor league player.
I mean, you basically just gave up, like the next coming of Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent for some shitbag pitcher. I don't know. It could have been a great duo right there, and you guys you blew it. Real sad to see. Hate that for you.
Is Brandon asleep?
No.
Probably. He's thinking about all that money.
Listen,
that they pay
Brandon,
Aaron
before
Judge
you joined up with this podcast, there were some people sleeping on here.
No, I'm listening.
Grant, Trippy, Jake, probably.
Nah, I haven't fallen asleep. I just tend to look away and start paying attention to other things when y'all go into baseball. White noise.
I'm scrolling through Twitter and Facebook trying to stay up
Jake
on
says
shit.
that about us talking about baseball as if he doesn't talk about shit. Yeah, like Jake starts talking about random shit that no one's ever heard of in their life. We're talking about Major League Baseball.
Three people have ever watched.
No, I didn't say I didn't hear it. I'm just not interested in it because baseball is the worst of the 4 major sports.
You're the worst
without
of the 4
question.
Major sports.
Your face is the worst of the 4 major sports.
Hey, Jake, do you have any obscure rock and roll bands going on tour that you want to announce to the public here?
Oh yeah, someone from Brandon's neck of the woods is coming out here, Knocked Loose.
Oh, Knocked Loose. Hold on.
I appreciate Knocked Loose.
Knocked Loose. You. I think that was one of the songs that you put on the poll one time.
That was one of our band. That was one of the bands I recommended. Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody would know that because they never won. But yeah.
Well, that's because that was always by design. That was appealing to the niche audience.
The most recent music recommendation that Jake gave on this podcast was Wolf Piss.
Yeah, Wolf Piss, fucking Aesop Rock.
Drew wasn't here. It was just me and you, I think.
Yeah, it was. It was a duo episode.
I feel like I was in the car for a little bit of that, and then I left, and it just fucking went off the rails.
I like how Zamboni,
right.
We're talking about the 4 major sports, but he's like, soccer is objectively the worst sport in existence. He's just like, I know we're talking about the 4 major sports, but
if we add a 5th, you're right. If we're adding a 5th, you're right. I just don't recognize soccer.
Is soccer even like qualify for 5th major sport?
All right,
that's what I'm saying.
Here are the 5 major sports. I'm gonna. Well, actually, yeah. All right, you want to do 5?
Go for it.
It
right.
Well,
is
you can do as
Number-
many as you want. We can
Number
we can
one.
power rank as many sports as you want.
Number 1 is the NFL. Number 2 is college football.
okay.
Number-
See, I would
number-
just say number one is football.
No.
Yeah, number one's
College
football in
college
general.
football should be number
Nah,
one.
you differentiate the two.
NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, NBA, WNBA. That's the top
Fuck off.
5. That's the
Fuck
top
off.
5 sports.
Will
right there.
nobody? Will do we
Are you
have to do
retarded?
this?
Two
Nobody
of those
watches
5
the
are
WNBA.
horrible.
Nobody
Yes.
cares about the WNBA.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
WNBA is a money laundering scheme for the NBA. Like,
Yes.
let's be real here. People can tweet about it and say, "Oh, I love Angel Reese. Oh, I love Caitlin Clark." Nobody fucking cares. It's
Nobody
not a
cares.
real sport. Nobody gives a shit.
Oh,
Well, I've
it's-
mission
been
accomplished.
No-
I've been
nobody
watching
cares.
the WNBA before Angel Reese and all them. People just started watching that shit. I've been watching.
Hey, you trippy, you got another shout out.
Yep.
What's
Salute.
up, Troy?
What's up, Troy?
Troy, do you watch the WNBA?
That's my guy that make the shirts and stuff and the vests and stuff.
Oh, when's he
Oh,
sending
nice.
you a bulletproof vest?
Can,
I can
hey,
walk
can,
Yeah.
can Troy make a Zone 32 vest?
Bulletproof vest.
Yeah.
That would
We
be
should
fucking
all
sick.
we should all show up to M&T wearing bulletproof vests. That would be pretty cool.
Mm.
We might need them.
Yeah, honestly, my insane WNBA comments might spark the crowd.
Right.
I mean,
all 6 WNBA fans are gonna be real fucking upset that I just said.
I
those
listed
sports.
the sports in the order. Well, if I'm doing it in my order, it's NFL, Major League Baseball, then
College
college
basketball
football.
is better than the NBA.
Okay, I mean,
Where's
I'll accept
NHL
that.
land in this?
NHL is better
For me?
than the NBA.
For me,
college
the
basketball.
NHL is just above soccer, and those two are below everything else. Like
For me, it
table
goes.
tennis that you can watch on the fucking FanDuel app.
Well, there
Well,
is
well, you
no
gamble
way
on it
that
is
you
better
can look,
than
you can
NHL.
with a straight face say that WNBA is a good product.
Correct.
You can't.
God.
And also saying that hockey. is
Even the
the-
Falcons fan
that's-
here who just weighed in knows that.
Yeah,
WNBA
my-
sucks.
my buddy from work. Yeah, how's that loss hurting you?
Yep. Well,
I kind of wanted us to lose that game to the Falcons because I feel like we need to lose 2 preseason games to win the Super Bowl.
I don't
yeah.
know.
feels that way.
We lost the preseason game and then we made it to the. Do you think the Ravens will win the Super Bowl this year? Yes.
I mean, duh.
At some point, they just have to do it. I think is maybe like the dumbest
Well-
way to put it, but like they've had a good team for enough years in a row. Like it's got to happen. This is
I'm
the year
going
to do
off
it.
the 12-year rule, so it's due.
It is actually.
True.
Well,
Also
hold
that.
on, and
And the Super Bowl's in New Orleans.
and R.I.P. Jacoby.
Exactly.
Well-
He's the one that returned the 108, 109 yard back to back.
Again, like it's
Well, and
just
he's a New Orleans guy. I mean, like it all
Yep.
it all goes right back. I mean, wow, look at that. I mean, I'm a super spiritual
That's what I
guy.
said. Remember,
so-
Will? That's what I told the. It will. That's what I told the news. That's what I told the news reporter that day. I said, man, it's only right. 12 years. Last time we played was in New Orleans. Let's go for 12. So
It's only right that we just
Hopefully
win the
they
Super
run that
Bowl
clip back.
and just fucking do it already.
Exactly.
I'm tired of not winning the Super Bowl, so I'd like to win one. That'd be great.
And plus, everyone's out for blood this year, as far as our team, our fans. So on
this
and
would
so
be
forth.
this would be like a really rewarding opportunity to cash in the Super Bowl. Like it's gonna happen here in the next couple of years at some point with Lamar. It's got to happen, but for it to happen this year, I think would be.
Lamar is
if I
too
could
good
pick.
to have not won a Super Bowl yet, so let's fix that.
And plus, if I'm not mistaken, when we lost to the Patriots in that AFC
We don't talk about it. We
championship
don't
game,
talk about it. We don't talk about it.
weren't we all pretty much the same level of pissed off?
No, that was the arguably the worst sporting event that I've ever watched in my entire life.
Yeah.
I understand why you say that because you live out there in that area and you deal with them. That
It's
would
not
have been
even.
like
Jake, I've watched the Bruins blow Stanley Cup Final Game 7s. I've seen the Red Sox do unspeakable damage to my mental health. Multiple years that we're talking about here of them just losing playoff series that they shouldn't fucking lose. I watched the Celtics get beat by a fucking rapist in 2010. I watched the Celtics lose to fucking Steph Curry when they should have, had that series in the bag and gone back to Boston with a 3-1 lead. Like I've seen enough that was atrocious on so many fucking levels. Lee Evans, or I think it was Lee Evans that took that ball down the sideline.
It was.
And fumbled
Yep,
like
that
1
was
yard
Evans.
short of a first down.
Yep.
Okay, so you got that. You got retired Lee Evans can't catch the fucking ball. You sign the guy to fucking catch goal line fades. You can't fucking do it. And then just jackass Billy Cundiff waddles out there and misses the fucking kick. It was atrocious.
Yeah.
There was no
That
worse
would've-
loss in sports history than that.
That would have been me had we lost Super Bowl 47 to the Niners. Because I would have had to deal with the insufferability. Just
Yeah,
like
but that was rigged.
you had to.
If we lost,
But
that was
in a
rigged.
different way.
That was the
Oh, for
NFL,
sure.
NFL took the
Oh, for
old
sure.
guys and froze them out for 20 minutes with their fucking fake light catastrophe.
Oh yeah.
Not
There would
dissimilar
have
to the time that Camden Yards mysteriously lost power when Cal Ripken wasn't going to play a game and extended the streak, but we don't talk about that. That upsets Will.
Yeah. Jake's like, oh yeah, they definitely paid off some electrician to do that.
That was
in
Kevin
New Orleans?
Costner.
Oh, yeah. No, they didn't pay off an
his
electrician.
wife,
They paid off a
and
fucking
Cal
pig.
Ripken called
They
the owner of
paid
the
off a
Orioles,
homeless
said, I'm not
American
playing today, so they pulled the power.
They paid off a drug addict to go bust that breaker, dog. You know that? They're like, man, you don't have much to live for. I'll give you and your family all this money if you go fucking jerry rig that panel to get that power off for 35 minutes.
It was Sean Payton who pulled the plug that game, for the record, because he was, Deflategate or Bountygate. He was all sad about being suspended for that.
He's doing the Macarena on a fucking swingers cruise.
Allegedly.
Was it Sean Payton or was it Kevin James?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember those pictures that came out on the internet of
Yes.
him like on a cruise just making out with chicks?
Yep. But that was all a decoy that he, got caught pulling the breaker at that Super Bowl.
Factual.
Just like Kevin Costner got caught fucking Cal Ripken's wife, and then they faked the whole power outage at
All right, that's
That can't
slanderous. You're gonna get the podcast kicked off fucking YouTube with this bullshit.
Well, there
YouTube's
you
big
go.
fan of conspiracy theories. I mean, I watched Loose Change on YouTube the first time, so
Hey, man.
Me
Well,
too.
now that we're getting
like-
Actually,
now
no,
that we're
I think I
getting
had to go to the website loosechange.org. I think.
Yeah, I had to too back in the
I
day.
kind of want to hire the Loose Change guys to just make like a soundtrack, like a background music for our podcast. Most of
That would
what
be
they
awesome.
said was fucking crazy, and it doesn't really add up. But with the music, it sounded convincing. So,
But
I
I
can
think
say pretty
Jake's
much
here is
anything
trying to
with that
die.
music.
Oh, I definitely am. Anyway,
Jake doesn't allow us to talk about 9/11 or COVID on the podcast. Those
No,
are too
not at all.
taboo.
that's right.
Jake's a big COVID.
Hey, man.
Get
Hey, man.
vaccinated.
Jet fuel don't melt steel beams.
Johnson & Johnson Jake.
COVID,
over here.
is it how is it? How do I say it? That is funny as hell. But the virus is real, but the political response, the government response is political and totalitarian. Jet fuel don't melt steel beams, and that's gonna do it for this week's installment. We'll be back to discuss this, that, and the other before I get thrown away, lock and key in the gulags. But meanwhile, it's time for me to die.